Hi. As a life coach and a dating coach, one of the most common questions that I get asked by men and women is, what is it that successful people do that unsuccessful people don't? And while there's a lot of good answers, one of the key ingredients for myself and a lot of my clients is understanding living at your edge. So what is your edge? Well, your edge is a psychological boundary beyond which are all the list of tasks that for you are slightly overwhelming. So for example, closer to you on the boundary would be tasks such as boiling an egg, driving a car, and maybe playing League of Legends. On the other side of that boundary would be tasks like asking your boss for a raise, asking a cute girl out on a date, and maybe making $1 million a year in income. So if you just focus on tasks that are on the easy side of your edge, you very quickly get bored, and your edge never grows, and you never build success or capability in any particular skill set. But if you focus on tasks that are way too far beyond your edge, then you very quickly burn out, you get frustrated, you have a lot of failure, and it's very mentally draining, and very quickly you'll crash and burn and you'll retreat back to the easy side of the edge. However, tasks that lie right on the boundary, just beyond the boundary, the edge of things that you feel capable and confident doing, there's this magical area known as flow. Now, flow is a psychological state of mind that has been extensively studied by a Hungarian researcher known as Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. I hope I got that name right. And basically, when you're in a state of flow, it's when you're doing something that is difficult enough to hold your complete attention, but not so difficult that it overwhelms you. Now, a perfect example of something that puts you in a state of flow is video games. You see, video game researchers know that if you're playing a video game and it's too easy, you really quickly get bored and you put the game away and play something else. But if the video game gets too hard too quickly, you easily get frustrated and annoyed, and again, you cast aside that game to play something else. Instead, video games are designed to get difficult at exactly the rate they hope that you're going to get better at the game. That makes a game hugely addictive and hugely successful. You see, a state of flow is one where we get locked into doing this task and we get so engaged and excited that we don't feel hunger, we don't feel sadness, we have no idea what's going on around us. We get totally lost and immersed in the task. It is a hugely fun, immersive, it's this incredible state of mind that I know that we've all had before. So the massive mistake that everyone keeps making is they get frustrated with their day-to-day lives, and all of a sudden they say, I want to become a millionaire. And so they commit to quitting the day-to-day jobs. They go and they move overseas and they dedicate themselves to becoming a full-time digital entrepreneur. And of course, it's overwhelming. There's too many new tasks. They've taken off too much at once and they crash and they burn. They come home a failure and they tell themselves, this just isn't for me. You know, as a dating coach, I see this all the time as well. Guys say, I want to go out and I want to be able to pick up really hot, amazing women at a club. That's exactly what I want. And instead of starting off easy on themselves and taking it step by step, they want to jump into the deep end and overwhelm themselves. And then, of course, they crash and burn. They feel like a failure and they end up feeling more insecure around women than they did before. Now, a perfect example of this is what I experienced in my own life. Before I started my very first company, School of Attraction, I was 26 years old and I had never completed anything. I mean anything. I dropped out of university. I tried to start a DJing gig. I spent $5,000 on DJing gear and I did, I think, one gig and then I burned out and couldn't be bothered doing anymore. I never completed, I think I completed 5 bits of homework the whole way through high school. I was incapable of seeing anything through and being successful or building something out of anything. But I got some really, really great advice from a friend of mine who had successfully started a business before. He said, the big mistake people make in business is they jump too far. They go too far in. Instead, he said to me, what I should do is just commit to working for 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week on my new business venture. And I wasn't allowed to commit to doing it anymore until 2 or 3 weeks had elapsed, and then I could start to increase the amount that I worked. But the interesting thing was that because I wasn't going too far past my edge, I was keeping it really simple. I was able to keep plugging away day after day for 2-3 weeks, 20 minutes a day. Doesn't sound like much, but something was getting done. Then gradually I started to increase the amount of time I put in, more and more and more and more, until after just 2 to 3 months, I was working 6, 7, 8 hour days, 5, 6 days a week on my new company. And I wasn't feeling stressed. I wasn't feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling energized. In fact, I was living and sleeping this new business because I was so excited about it. I was in the state of flow almost every single hour of the day, and it was amazing, and so much amazing work got done. And every now and again, I'd accidentally push myself too far, and for the next few days, I'd feel really unmotivated because I had exerted myself and created a little bit of trauma by pushing too hard. So what I'd do is I'd take a few days off work, and then I'd decrease my workload for the next few days so that I'd have a chance to slowly go back, start pushing that edge from a more sensible place again. And it was just like that. Like that, I managed to create a life for myself in which living at my edge was the norm. No longer do I create these, I don't know if you guys have heard of bags, big, hairy, audacious goals. I no longer set those for myself. From that point on in my life, I focus just on leaning into my edge, standing at that point, just at the precipice of things that I don't feel comfortable doing, and just leaning into it, pushing a little further every single day of my life. And that is one of the massive skills that I teach to every single one of my clients, and it makes all the difference in the world. How about you, viewers? Have you ever taken on a new task, jumped straight into the deep end, gotten massively emotionally overwhelmed, and crashed and burned? Or have you been lucky enough to engage in a task, engage in a new project, and lean into your edge? Have you been in that space before where you're pushing hard but not so hard to overwhelm yourself, and you found that you build up more and more and more momentum like a snowball and you became massively successful in it? If you've had that experience, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my 3 weekly videos. Hey guys, do you get frustrated approaching women and then getting rejected? I'd like to invite you to my free 12-video training series where I'm going to show you how to make such an amazing first impression before you even say a word that rejection will soon become a thing of the past. See that button down there? Don't procrastinate anymore. Go ahead and click on it, and I look forward to working with you.